Hey guys, Anthony, 4x4 Diesel, just doing a quick video, or not so quick, on reinstallation of putting the rear axles back in a 120 Prado. So we've had them out to replace the seals and the bearings. That's obviously a bit of a job, pressing the, you need a special tool to press the bearings off and on, so we're not including that in this video, but perhaps maybe in another video later on. If you haven't seen our other video removing them, go and have a look at that, and remember to subscribe so that you don't miss out on videos like this. We're going to try and keep it all in one and getting it all back together. We've cleaned everything up, replaced seals. As far as I can see, everything's ready to go back together. So we're going to do that, and listen carefully for instructions on how to avoid. There's a couple little pitfalls, you know, problems you can have if you're not careful. So let's see how this works out. So first thing you got to be careful of, obviously we've got to put the axle in without damaging the seal. And it comes to a point, I mentioned, have a look in the other video, have a look in the end of the axle, because there's a metal plate in there that if you bump it out, there it is right there, I've just touched on it. So you got to just give it a, we've gone in the hole now, right? So we've cleared that, all right? So if you get to about that distance and you feel a resistance, if you press against it, you could pop that plate out of place that's inside, and then you'll have to pull your diff assembly out and reset those back into position. So we believe we're past that point. Get the orientation correct. The bearing obviously only goes one way, there's only a left and right. I think I've got it into the correct position. I think this is, we've just got to sort of try and get it to go into the diff now, so that's gone in onto the teeth. Now we're going to lift that up, and that's in the holes. We're going to put the 4 nuts back on, which are up here on the side step. Pretty straightforward stuff, but you know, don't fast forward or quit yet, because I might say something that you need to know about. Just going to get these nuts back on and nip those up. We'll probably recheck all the tensions for those nuts at the end of the video. But for now, we'll just sort of go through the procedure, and like, I suppose the hardest, most fiddly part is putting all these brake shoes back on. So as I said, if you haven't watched the other video with the removal, have a look at that. So we're just going to go by hand at this stage. It's all pulling in pretty well, which is good. I have got an assistant here holding the light, so hopefully you guys can see what's going on. If it's not working out, you can put your complaints in writing to Scott at 4x4dieselholdingthelight.com. I don't know if there's a website for that, but anyway. We'll get a spanner, 17mm. They are 17mm, I think they're 17mm, find out. They were the other day anyway. We'll just give those a bit of a nip for now, to make sure it all pulls in and we're happy. Not that you can see what I'm doing, but there's 4 17mm nuts in behind that hold the axle in. So I don't even know the torque spec on those, so we'll have to check all that up before we go ahead and do that. But obviously they're going to be fairly tight. My guess, I'll just take a guess what they might be. They might be, you know, around the 90 to 100, 80 to 100 Newton meters type thing. So, but we'll check it out. And obviously you should do the same if you're doing this yourself. These studs, obviously, they get pushed out when you change the bearing, so they need to pull back through into place again, so which is why it's going to be a bit, probably, if the ratchet spanner fits in there, and it might be a bit quicker. So you probably couldn't see what was happening there, but those studs there, they've got to pull back through, which they did. Alright, so that's the easy part nearly done. Another one of these studs that's got to pull in. Okay, so it's just, as long as they're nice and evenly firm, they'd probably be fine, but it's always a good idea, if you're inexperienced, you know, you may not have a good feel for it, so they're pretty good. And it's probably worth, you know, you can have a bit of a, yep, it's all good. Happy days, looks good. So now the fun part is, you know, getting the brake shoes back on, but whatever you do, don't put them back on until you put this handbrake cable. If you forget that, you're in a world of hurt, because the whole reason we have to pull the shoes off this backing plate, well, besides it's in the way of a few things, but to get to the 2 bolts for that. So that'll go back in next. So we'll carefully feed that back through there. Sit that in place. We'll grab our little quarter drive, 10mm, get that ready, and try and get the bolts started. We'll try and get them started without any tools. Sometimes we use a 10mm socket just to, you know, get a better grip on the nuts and whatever with some jobs, but this one was fine, besides the cable being a little bit in the way. You don't want to bend that either, just be careful of that. I chose not to wash, you know, I considered washing it, lubing it and all that, but the problem here is you've got a lot of dust and dirt, so brake dust from the inside the drum, and also dirt and mud that accumulates from using the vehicle for what it was designed to be used for. And what happens with dust and dirt, it all sticks to grease and lubes and things that are wet, so I just blew it out with a bit of compressed air, and we'll just leave it as it is. You know, worst case scenario, one day you probably need to replace your handbrake cable, because again, it really is another wear and tear item. Hopefully not for a long time. Don't over tighten these, they're just going into just plastic, so just nip them nicely. They're not too loose though, but not too tight, right? So again, you can check the torque specs if you want to do that, but I'm happy with that, and I sort of go back and forth a bit just to make sure they're right. So if you can't see that, 2 10mm in there, that's where the cable comes through from behind. So now that's in place. Next step would be take our left side handbrake shoe, which we've cleaned it all up. So you've got your handbrake arm on there, and we've got the spring sitting on the back, because generally they stay on pretty well, so I figure we might as well have that in place now. So we've got that ready. Just need a pair of side cutters. I'll just grab those, I'm not missing in action. So you can't really get this wrong which way it's going to go, because you know you've got your handbrake lever and the cable here. So same way as we took it off, just put the side cutters in between the spring, slide the spring back enough to get that, if we work out which way it goes. I think there might be a little way it locks in as well. No, not really. What's going on there? No, it just sits like that. Okay, so it can spin apparently. I thought that was going to go in actually. I don't know, I'm not sure about that. What's going on there? No, it's not going to go any further than that. So that can actually spin in there, I think. Yeah, it does turn, so it doesn't really matter orientation with that. Now the next fun part is probably to get the clip on, because it is one of the harder parts. Right, oops, there it is, it all just fell out anyway. So this is where the fun and games start. Now you can kick back and you can keep eating your popcorn and your chips and whatever, and have a beer and have a laugh. I'll have the fun and games, and you can sit back and have a laugh, right? That just stays there for a sec. I'll go and get the correct clip. So what we'll do, if I can get you with a torch over here, please, Scott, shining the light so we can sort of see what we're doing just on where the clip's going to be now. You know what, I'll bring the camera around so you can have a look and see what, it might be a bit in the way, that's all, but I'll try. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to bring the clip from behind. Remember, we took those out. You can't see really, but the bent, I'll show you before I put it in place actually, so I'll take it back out. The bent clip usually goes on the side that's got the lever, this lever for the handbrake. See, we call that the bent clip. So we're feeding it through the hole from behind, which you can't see, but it doesn't matter. And then we're going to fiddle around, get that up roughly into place. And this is, like I said, where the fun starts. So we've got this flat clip that goes in first. and it goes into that little locator hole, right? And if you can see that in the video, I'm going to slip it out a little bit so you can see that hole there. This plate, obviously the hole goes where the pin is, and that little locator goes in that hole. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and then I'm going to drop it all and go, and we're going to have a laugh. But anyway, it's a bit awkward because I'm trying to work around a camera that's in the way and whatever as well, so it's probably a bit more awkward than usual. Drop the spring. Just there, mate, near the hump. Thank you. So we kind of got to get this in behind there, quite fiddly. And it's not feeling like, thanks again. How many times are you going to catch that for me? It's not feeling like any fun at the moment. So you're holding that brake shoe there, right? Yeah, that's good. Okay, so what we'll do actually, just bring it in, see, because we need to get it in as flat as we can. So that's good. If you hold that like that. I got it. Yeah, not much room to get in there, and it does help if you have the shoe back, but out as far as you can. Right where we got it now is a good place to be. Try and hook that spring in there, and then the spring will actually sit in position because it's pressing against the back of the axle. Then we've just got this little, and the flat plate faces out towards us. Now what you got to be careful, is that meant to be flat or is that ground down? I think that might be a bit of both. Let me have a look at the other one. You know, that should be flat, that one. I'm just going to have a look in my little spare parts here, see if I can find another one. And we have got a few spares off some old ones and that, so it's meant to be round like that. Okay, so then we need to get this on top of that spring as well. So we're not too worried about the clip at the moment. We just want to get, you hold that light sort of just around that angle. Thank you. Try and get that flat washer in on top of the spring. Okay, so that spring and all those bits are sitting in place, even that's in the hole. So all we've got to do now is hold this pin in and turn that and pop it in place. And I've got to say, depending which way you hold your tongue, how hard it is to get on. So we're going to go for a twister to the, I don't know which way. You know, sometimes you just get lucky and you go bang, that was the easy way to do it, you know. And other times you go, oh, this is disastrous, right? So, here we go. I need an extra finger, but no, it needs to be connected to my brain, unfortunately. Why couldn't I have 3 hands? But yeah, quite often, I found it easier just to, yeah, it's not really happening at the moment, but just trying to see which way my pin is and which way. I think it's the other side that I get by hand, probably the go, but I might actually try this one with a long nose pliers. What we'll do, I'll just spin the axle around. Hopefully that stays there. Let everything go, I got it, it's all good. Where's the hole? Around here. If the spring stays there, that'd be good. Well, that's back of the stud hit it, that wanted to go, but nearly there. Oh, a little bit more. If you can help turn that a little bit. Whoop. No, just lost our bits, but that's all right. Not too far away. So yeah, I'm not promoting that I'm good at this. Usually go okay. They usually both get put back together, both sides, within about, I don't know, within about an hour or muck. You know, it just depends. You can be really lucky and get these clips and all the bits on in 10 minutes, or you can, and I haven't done a lot of them, so it's not like I know the best way. But we're going to try the pointy nose pliers through to the clip at the moment, and I've, you know, because yeah, each side's a bit different to each other. Maybe it might be a bit of a combination, so every other time I've done it on my own as well, so we'll see. Come on. Just trying to get that washer. There it is, the washer's over. She's turned. Okay, that one's on. So, I mean, sometimes you just get luck like that, so take note for the video, what worked. On the driver's side at the rear shoe, long nose pliers through the hole, which is probably the whole design of the system, the way it should work, but just trying to point out that it doesn't always work. Make sure your bent pin is facing forwards towards the axle. So if we could shine the light down there, is that facing direct forwards, you reckon, or does it need to go? It'll adjust itself a little bit. Do we need to just give it a bit of a touch to push it down? Looks pretty good. See what I'm talking about there? Is that good?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll just leave it then. Happy days. Okay. So what we'll do is bring the camera back around this side. Try and get that in the right spot so you guys can see the pain and suffering we're going to go through at this side. Okay. And of course the light as well. We've got that flat plate. Now you guys, if you've looked at the old video, you should have made notes on which way everything goes. I'm thinking that this flat plate goes that way, the flat side towards me, but I'm not sure really, to be honest. So I'm pretty sure the cutout, that cutout goes towards the back, towards the car, and the flat one also, let's say the longer one out towards me. Okay, so that's what we're doing. And of course the spring end towards the front. The handbrake end has got the big slot. Okay, so this is what I said, you got to watch and listen because they're the important parts when you go, where does this go? Okay, let's make sure that spring's still on the bottom. It is, yeah. That's there. Happy days. What are we going to do? Those springs to last. The adjuster we can pop in afterwards because we can stretch the spring out. So I really think the next thing to do is to put this shoe in place. And seeing as I've got an assistant, that handbrake and everything's all sitting good, yeah. So as I've got an assistant, I'll say, let's have a look down in here. We need to get this sitting. I'll just show the guys for the video. So that plate there with that spring is going to go into that slot there, pretty straightforward. Okay, so just make sure that spring's on. I know in the video you can't see much, but hopefully you can see. This is why there's a lot of videos we can't do because, you know, there's so much to do and so many bits in the way. We've got an assistant there to hold that, perfect. Haven't always got that, so you want to have anything you might need close by within reach. I've got that, thanks mate. Because if you don't, I should have probably put that pin through before I put the shoe in place, but this will make it a bit more fun because I'm just going by feel. Not having much luck at the moment. I think that's where the hole is there. Okay, it's gone through a hole, there it is. Okay, so this is a bit of a fiddly one because these pins and everything, it all just wants to fall out of place, and I should probably have the other stuff I'm holding in my hand sitting up here on this side step, so we'll do that now. Okay, I got this, all good for now. Okay, where'd that pin go? Okay, so the trick here is now to get all that stuff on at this side. Ain't fun. That's it. That looks a little bit bent, but you know what? I think it'll be alright, so I'm not going to mess around with it. Now, where's that hole? There's the hole it's got to locate into. So what we've got to do is somehow, while holding the shoe and holding the pin, which, yeah, you want to keep your finger, and try and keep the pressure on it so, yeah, so that this end heads back this way, that's it. Yeah. And the light right in the crack there like that, you know. And somehow, impossibly, I'm going to just pop this shoe back out a little bit and probably sit that flat plate. Again, you know, the one that went in first, this one, with the hook goes in the hole goes in the little slot in the shoe. You can almost glue that in place, it'd make it easier, so there's an option. You could plan ahead, but it probably needs a bit of movement, like see it moves a little bit, so you want to see if you can get that pin as soon as you got it. Yeah, I'll do it. It's probably better, you know, the two hands connected to the same brain, unfortunately. So we can get that through that hole there, and it's in. That little adjuster, that little spacer in there, we can fix that up afterwards. The key thing we want to get done is to get this back there, just the spring for now, I reckon. So, fun and games it is. fun and games. So, yeah, we're just trying to sit that spring and get it in place with the darn camera in the way. Tell you what, this video better help some people, I tell you. So the spring's in there, but I've just about dropped everything, so I need to put it along. Can you grab the long nose pliers over there? Thanks. That's what pays. If I didn't have the camera, I'd have everything up on the step there and make sure, yep, everything you need is where you need it. And sometimes you end up dropping everything and you're just back to starting off where you did in the first place, kind of thing. And there goes the spring and the clips, eh? Is that what we're talking about? So it is a bit of fun and games. Got another little idea. Will that just stay there? Don't touch anything for a sec. Just going to try, and this is what we do when we haven't done a lot. We try different things, you know, try different things. So what I'm going to do, you know those red postie lacquer bands? I'm going to get one of those and see if putting that around the shoes, so you've got to be a bit creative with these sort of jobs, right? Look at that. Hey, look at that. Where you going now, eh? Okay, what do we need? The flat clip first, wouldn't it? Yep. Okay, fun and games. You just don't know what tool to go for next, you know? Okay, so I don't mind pulling this out a little bit to get this clip on. It just looks impossible, doesn't it? How are you going to get that on? We can't swear in the video, mate. We'll have to pause it. What an awesome design, isn't it, right? I'm amazed how well I get them back together, you know. And the first one is like a nightmare. There go the bits again. Okay, you know. And then you go, oh, it's not too bad, mate. We get them done. So I don't know how this one's going to go, really. We could be here for hours. We could be here for a short time. But the important part is you stay tuned so you don't miss out on what worked. What worked. We need to let it go in a little bit so we can get a bit more length on the pin. That's it. So the best place for it to be is about there. Can you actually hold the bottom of the shoe so it's out to there? Yep. So guys, it could be of assistance if you've got a helper. I'm not concluded on that yet. We'll let you know at the end of the video whether it was... That's a problem when you've got your helpers. It'd be good if you could plug them into the same... It's like having a computer with two monitors. That works, but two separate computers or two... Yeah, I don't know. Not a good example. Okay, so next I'm going to grab that spring, get rid of that screwdriver. Hopefully I can get it in again, and this time I can hold the pin so it stays. Already nearly dropped the spring. It doesn't matter about the locator, we'll fix that. It does help though, because it stops the pin moving away from where we want it. So it is a contraption, I tell you. I wonder how factory gets it together. Obviously machines just do it all, but good machine. Okay, so we've now got the spring in place. We've got the locator pretty well in place till it falls out. So this top washer that's still round is going to go. What we should have probably done is spun the axle around so I can try the side cutter through the hole, which is one of the things that quite often works very well. But I do remember other times I've done them where I've used the pointy nose pliers and it just has not worked. And you just get your fingers in there and you just twist, you know, kind of like what I'm, you know, almost doing now. You get your two fingers in, you push on it and turn it, and that works better. So there's a number of different things. There's no set thing that seems to work here, right? But what we've got at the moment is we've got a pin there where I can almost push in and turn that. You know what I mean? So I've just got to find which way it's going to go on. That way. Okay, so it's pretty well lined up at the moment. Yeah, I think I might just spin the axle. Should have done it before, but I might just push this in, take it off the axle, spin the axle, and try and use the hole. Definitely have it there for if we decide we want to try it anyway. See, the reason it doesn't look like it's going to work at the moment is because, Christ, no, that's not what I wanted, is it? Reaching for the long nose pliers. Let's see, you know. Let's see what happens. Now what we need to do, once we get the long nose into the correct position on the end of this washer, is bring that brake shoe down into place so it lengthens the pin. So that should come down. Actually, it's because this thing's probably not sitting quite right either. But let's get this in like that. Where that pin goes, better get the pin in the hole as well. Got to turn the axle a little bit. Fun and games. It's all about patience. You've got to be kind of pretty good with your hands to be able to get everything happening, and then patience and get everything right before you have a crack. Come on. That's the problem. We're on it, but it won't turn. There's nothing to really kind of turn with. And we're back off it again. Bugger. Come back here, pin. Because as you push it, see your long nose, they get squeezed shut on it as well. So it's a bit of a problem. To have. So you can be so close, and this could be all about to go to the disaster area. And this is where sometimes this could be the one that the fingers are going to work better, but we'll just see. We'll persist a little bit. I don't do these, for the record, so if you think you're bringing your car in here to do this, $1,000, or I don't do them. I really try not to do these. That's why we do the video, so you can go, oh yeah. I don't want to take this to someone because I don't trust them to put it all back together properly. That's happened before where people have kind of got no handbrake. So if you don't want to be one of them, and you don't want to pay $1 million for the time that it takes to get it right, you really need to have a crack yourself, don't you? So that's the idea, trying to help you out so you can do that. Now that's not really working, so we'll try getting in behind here and grabbing the washer and at the right spot, hopefully. And there's a lot of hoping going on. Now all we need to do now is spin that. That's what I've done before. No, wrong screw off. Oh my God, this is what I'm saying. If I could get my fingers in there now, you know what I mean? It's bloody so close. Yeah, nah. What do I do here? It's like deja vu here, you know what I mean? I'm losing it. Back to where we were. So close. Yet so far. We're going to get it, don't worry, we're going to get it. I think I need to take this jump off, mate. The pressure's building. You got any ideas off the top of your head? Just keep persisting, or no super bright ideas yet?
There's no easy way.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. And you have got a lot of good ideas, so that's really saying something if you haven't got something there. Okay. Sometimes just having that little screwdriver in one side works. So how's everyone enjoying it so far? Sitting back, you know, back on the recliner in their cinema room, you know, eating some chocolate or something, I reckon. Probably Cadbury, actually I'll tell you a good one at the moment. It's bad stuff, by the way, don't touch that stuff, but that Jaffa, those blocks of Jaffa are awesome. I think I'm a bit addicted to those at the moment. Got to stay away from the stuff. What are we doing? Seem to be struggling a bit at the moment, that's for sure. What am I going to go for? I'm going to go for the long nose pliers again, I think. Keep this handy in case we need it though, always. Fun and games. Okay, so that's up and down. So all we need to do is somehow spin it a little bit. We're on. We're going to be on. Don't worry. We are going to. We're there a little bit. That's what I mean. You know, it's so hard 1 minute, and then it just. You know, which way's it got to go? It's about to pop off, or is it about to pop in? That's the problem. You lose which way it's got to go. Oh, it's so close to getting losing it. Yeah. No, that's all right. So what I do, I grab this. It's got to go clockwise. So I'm going to grab the pin. This is where the finger comes into it, right? And you go like that. Bingo, mate. She's on. There you go. And that's what we do when we get a bit happy because we've got something back together that seems to be impossible. So now we're just going to see where our little thing is. It's completely fallen out of place, but that's okay. We're going to take our lacquer band off. I think we're safe to do that at the moment. Just remember that special tool, the Australian Postal Service lacquer band. Now our plate that we had in place is completely fallen out of place. So we're going to try and pop that back in. We're not going to try, we're going to do it. It's just a matter of how hard it is. And it's looking like fun as well at the moment. But no, we can open that up. We could probably use a magnet or something to pull it back up. And I'm just going to try this bit of surgery. We get the angle long nose pliers to hopefully grab that before it falls too far down. You know what, I'm just going to... What are we going to do? Try and grab that. Yeah, wrong tool for the job. Just like a doctor, really. This tool, that tool. Try this, try that. Nurse. Okay. Yeah, nasty. Just want to get the end of that. So it's just flopping around. I'll take that spring. Looks like it's coming off. There it goes out the bottom. That's all right. So, you know, obviously you could probably pop this in afterwards as well. I mean, I think normally I'll put it in before, but what we'll do, we'll just get it in place at the left side. We will. So I suppose the moral of the story is, basically you want to put the clips on first, the retaining clips. Oh. And get your finger back would be good too. So you just got to be patient. If you haven't got patience, forget it. You will be swearing and cursing and carrying on. It's like with any other job. If you do the injector job, you need to have a lot of patience, take your time. It's not a quick thing, you know. It's not fiddly like this, but it just takes time to do things properly. Clean, take your time to make sure everything's right. We need to spring back on. Take your time to make sure everything's right. Just going to try and put that spring back on where it was meant to be. That's going to be fun as well. I haven't had this happen before, so it's a first. Try and pull this one out a little bit as well, actually. That'll probably help. But without popping the clip, of course. As far as we can go without popping the clip. Oh, lost it again. Next thing you know, it's going to be down the bottom. So this is a bit of a hiccup that I haven't had before, but what goes out must come in and all that sort of thing, right? So all that jazz. Okay, now we've at least got the left side sitting in the right position. And the problem we've got is just trying to get this spring back on. That's a little bit bigger than the gap we've got to work with, I think. So just have to work out how we're going to do that. There's no way you can really just take it back out again and put it back in, is there? Maybe. I don't know, yeah. I should be able to get that in there. Okay. I don't think I'll get my finger back again. It's jammed in there now. Permanently.
So you got 10.
Only need 9, you reckon?
Yeah.
Well, actually, I need that one for this job, so I'll leave this one in there. I don't have to do these again. I'll be happy to never do this again. Quite happy. Which is why we're trying our best to do a video. Have that finger back. To show you what's involved. So you can understand a little bit. A few tips hopefully throughout this video, what not to do. This is the how not to do it video. So the problem we've got is getting that spring in between a gap at the moment without pulling this shoe completely right off again. Because you push it too far. Jeez, that is painful. It really needs to be down there while I put it on, doesn't it? I might drop this a few times, but I'll give this a try. And not drop it. Man, that is a challenge. I'm not taking those clips back off to put this back in place. What are we doing though? Like everything else that seemed impossible, it's just going to happen eventually. And that's the way you got to keep your head. You're going to get what you expect, and I expect this to go on. It's just about had its time. It's going to go on any second. There you go, guys, it's on. So, as expected, right? It's all sitting in place. Put this shoe back where it's meant to be. Put these shoes back where they're meant to be. Bada boom, bada bing. Going on there, probably something not quite right down there. It's meant to be down there. What's happening? Ouch, what was that? Oh yeah, that's right, that spring at the bottom. We could probably hook that on now. Just rip your finger open. So what we'll do, we'll go to the bottom and hook that spring in the bottom, and then we'll put the adjuster back in place after that. Probably should have hooked that on first actually, I wasn't thinking of that, but anyway, that's alright. So I'm going to be doing it by feel, unfortunately, because yeah, you know, this is what happens when you're doing videos and you're thinking about, is that all in place instead of hooking things on. But once again, it's going to happen. So it's the lower spring that pulls it all together that we didn't hook on at the back there. So going to sort of pull this out, and hopefully, no, I'm not going to get a finger in there. I'm going to hook that onto there somehow. Jeez, I think the other end's going to come off before this end comes on. I think it has. Yep, so now we're in trouble because we've got both of them off. Ah, you don't need it anyway, do you? Chuck it in the bin. Do you remember back on a current affair about 20 years ago? I think they were in an Ultra Tune workshop and they were chucking parts in the bin, you know, all the hidden cameras and that. Okay, fun and games. You know what would be good if we could just put it on the front one. You know, I mean, they're a bit universal, but you could probably get away with it around that way, but no, we're not the engineers, so it's going on the back. So we're gonna go. It's gonna be easy enough to get one side on. I'm just going by feel. It's gonna go bang and hook on there. That's one on. Just got to man up and get the other side on as well. Right. Get in there. Fun and games. Do a set of brake shoes any day, mate, than these things. I mean, it's brake shoes, but it's a bit harder than. You have to look up in there with the light, I think, see what's going on. I'm just going to go and get a little chair to sit on. Have a bit of a sit down low and go. Mm-hmm. If we shine the light, maybe if you're around this side probably. And if you shine the light underneath, hopefully, just get rid of the other light if you want for the minute, because it's kind of shining in the opposite direction there. Actually, come around this side so you can see where you're shining it, because this one's a bit of a... This is the worst example of how to do it, I just want to say. Normally it'd be done by now. Okay, so we've had a few... It's probably good for the video. We've had a few complications. So you can see the sort of things that can go wrong, so you can avoid it yourself. Make sure that bottom spring's in before, while you're fiddling around with the shoe, right? Just make sure that bottom spring stays hooked on. I'm just guessing where the hole is, you know. Can you see where I am with the other end of the spring?
You've got to stretch it a bit more. A bit more, that's it. That's in.
It's in?
Yep.
Is that in, is it?
Yep.
100% hooked in the hole?
Not all the way in, but it's started. It's half in the hole.
Really?
Yep.
You sure?
It's not popping out the other side, but it's in the groove.
No, we need to make sure it's popping out the other side.
Yep.
So, it just needs a bit of a manipulation. Is it popping out the other side now?
No.
Bastard. Oops, is that a swear word? It feels like it's pushed all the way in as much as it could be.
It's probably gone.
Oh, it might have gone. Hang on, can you just shine the light in here? Yeah, it might have gone into that little groove, so maybe I need to twist it a little bit. How about that? Any better?
No.
Lucky we've got an assistant here. That's right, don't worry, man. I'll fiddle around with the fingers and get it in there. Bit of an interesting one at the moment. So where it's kind of gone. Weird. Maybe it doesn't. Can you see the other side one? You probably can't see it, can you? Not without pulling it down and everything, yeah. Which could be a disaster in itself, doing that. Sorry guys, get the head in the way. That one, you can definitely see the spring poking out, so that's what we want to see at this one. So, bada boom, bada bing. Bada boom, bada spring. Okay, what's going on? Okay. What is going on there? It just won't even budge in, out, or around, or anything, eh?
It's like jammed, isn't it?
I think that other plate wants to fall out as well. I think it is it coming out now or something? Does it look different?
No.
My fingers need a rest, that's for sure. Is it off now?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let me try and get it on there because I feel like I've got a bit more room. It's off, all right. So we'll get this one on first for something different, eh?
Yeah.
Just to know that that one is on. Not like it's getting any easier because it's okay. That's got to be on, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So that's on.
That's good.
Is it in? And you can see it's all hooked and everything, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let's try and let's do it the opposite way and try and get this one. Okay. Might be easier, might be harder, I don't know, but we're about to find out. Yeah, can you just hold that one, say about there, just see what that does. Yeah, definitely when I put these on, I normally hook the spring at the bottom first, and I've forgotten to do it this time, which is making it lots of fun. God, I feel like it's hooked on, but no. Oh, mate. Killing me here. Okay. Okay, give me those side cutters. Try the old school stretch it with a side cutter. Actually, I might even just try the long nose pliers. Okay, here we go. Not something that wants to be put in afterwards, so do not make this mistake. Is the moral of the story? Oh, that is very hard. Fun and games. 46 minutes. But once we get this on, we're home and hosed, so alright, just got to rest the fingers for a minute. Wish I could hear what the viewers are saying. Look, laugh as hard as you like, we don't mind. Fun and games. Okay, so I think that's why I've been using fingers, because using a tool, it's just not going to get around it in where it needs to be too well. Hey Tony, I know you're watching this. Hope you're having a laugh, mate. One day you'll have to do this on your car. Hey Chris, I know you're watching as well. Yeah. One day you'll have to do this. And I hope you're better at it than me. Tell me something's hooked in.
Yeah, it's half in.
Half in? It's the half in again. Oh, exciting. It's half in. I don't like the half in ones. Come on, get it all the way in. It's not. It doesn't want to go all the way in, no? No, it's half in. Okay, give me this half in business. I'm getting it all the way in. Where's those long nose? Give it a bit of a twist and a tweak. Sure, yeah, I'll take those ones. Take the straight ones and see. Yeah, got my big fat head in the way. You get that? You know what we're doing. We're trying to get this bottom spring on. And it don't want to be. It's back out now, so that wasn't fun, was it? Well, guess what, guys?
That's it.
Everything happens in the end. If you're better than me, you'll get it done quicker. It's pretty easy, isn't it? Jobs like this. Alright, let's pop this thing back into place again. As soon as we've been manipulating around, we just need to check everything that's meant to be is where it's meant to be again. Which it's not. Come on, get up there. Why does that not want to be up there? Okay, so that's right, this was the whole problem in the first place. I need to put that adjuster in before we lose this spring again. Right, adjuster. Now we're going to put it back the way it came out. We assume that's right on the driver's side, the thread at the right. Okay, once again you can clean all this up. Look, you know, I think dry is the best option, clean and dry. Because, you know, any grease or stuff like that or anything wet is just going to attract dirt and dust to stay there. Fairly quality material, so yeah. And obviously if you want to see which way to adjust it, driver's side, okay, going down is going to make it tighter. Okay, going down on the driver's side. If you've got it in there with a thread to the right, if they put it back to front, let's just do a little thing, right? Going down is going to loosen it. That's why when someone says is it up or down, I'm not going to answer, because if you see the length's about the same, the adjuster's about the middle, depends which way they put. It can go either way. Like I said, this one is driver's side go down, tighten, and the thread's on the right. So if you look through your hole and find out your thread's on the right by looking at the adjuster through the rotor, then you know going down is to tighten. So that's why I say just keep watching, important information coming. Didn't even know I was going to do that, it just happened. It's not planned, it's just fun and games. So we're going to close that right up to make it easier to slip in. Hopefully we don't have too much fun putting this in. It should be fairly straightforward. That spring should just stretch. Again, I don't know if I normally put this in. I probably do normally put that in place. Can you pass me a screwdriver, please, mate? Any one of them. I've got to pretend I'm here on my own and do this. Normally I do this kind of business, you know, so we don't want to be getting a third hand in there too much. Now, what did I say? Thread to the right. Where's the thread now? I can't even say. That's the thread end, isn't it? Yeah. So, just about get the head in on it, I'll tell you. Crazy. Now, I think I normally get this adjuster and put it in there at the same time as I'm sitting the shoes. Put the adjuster in there and then put the... So this is a really bad video. When we do the other side, we'll try and get better at it. Right? I'm pretty sure that normally, yeah, we'd sit the adjuster in at the bottom. And then hook the spring on and whatever, and it probably stays more in place, and then put the clips on, right? So, but look, this has just been a different way of doing things, and it goes to show anything is possible. I think. We're about to find out anyway. Come on. Now where's it gone? Come back here, that's it. Yeah. Come on, what's going on? You just don't want to make it. Alright, so the good news is we're nearly there. We're nearly there. So, checking everything as we go again. Our bottom spring, yep, still tight. The adjuster's in. We've got the thread at the correct side, I think. So down was to tighten, correct? So remember that, mental note for later. Our bit in here for the handbrake, is that sitting? Can you just get the light so it goes in the gap, please? Thank you. Yep, that's good. Going on over this side, does that sit in the right spot? Yeah, because when that arm pulls, yeah, that's what's meant to get both the shoes working at once, but it just doesn't actually happen. Okay, so all we've got left is our top springs, of which you can check my pull it apart video, but if I remember correctly, the left side one came off second, which means it goes on first. So that hooks in on the brake shoe, which you may not see that, but it'll be pretty obvious when you go to do it. So there's only one hole there for it to sit on. Side cutters not to cut anything, just because they grip really well. Jeez, I'm making a bad example of this video. The side cutters, they grip really well. And so we're just using those to grip the spring, so that we can pull and hook it over, but I didn't get it in a good position, which was why I was trying to get a bit closer further down, which is what you need to do. And then, no, it's not working for me this time. Again, put the camera on, we'll bring out the worst, hardest, and everything that doesn't normally happen. Come on, get on there. Right, so that's one side on. So we've just got the last spring that goes over the top. I'll just leave the flat blade there in case I need it. So the green one, or the bigger one, it's got a bit of a bigger hook on the end. You can't really put it the wrong way because it hooks, that part there hooks into the brake shoe just in there. So, and they're quite easy to hook in afterwards or take off usually. There it is. And that one does go facing, like I said, it can only go one way, whether it faces up or down. So it's a bit opposite. Let's try and grab the hold by the end there and see if that works, but we'll turn the side cutters around. And that should just go bada boom, bada bing. And guess what? Other than putting in the ABS sensor, that's fairly well complete. Okay, so they do float up and down to move around. Just make sure they're kind of central. Not hitting anything. Check all your clips are still in place. And your backing plate locators. How about this one over here? I'm going to have a look in there, see if you reckon it's all in place. Yeah, so it's all good. The other thing you can do to help prevent these handbrakes from sticking on, just file a little bit on the edges of the, on an angle, a 45-degree angle, whatever, just to help them, because they do get a bit stuck, and I noticed the ends of the shoes is what breaks away. You know, when you wash the car and you don't drive it and it's all wet and it sort of rusts on a bit, then you drive off, it goes bang, it actually rips little bits off the end of your brake shoes. So if you have a little bevel on the edge, it can help prevent ripping that shoe away and sticking on. Right, so we'll give this a bit of a clean up before we officially put it back together. Clean the face a bit so your rotor sits nice and flat, make sure it's all good. But we were going to continue this video all the way through, so, but look, we're going to have a little edit at that point. You know, we've been running for about an hour now, it feels like, 56 minutes. So I think I need a smoko break. I don't smoke, but you know, something anyway. So the next thing we're going to do is, we'll probably put the ABS sensor back in, which goes here, and we're going to make sure we either use a new O-ring, check the O-ring if it's okay, and some grease to help seal it, because if any water gets in at that ABS sensor area, that'll sit between the seal to the diff and the bearing and rust and mess and all that. Yeah, you don't want that. So you want to make sure that's sealed properly, which is why we use, you know, nice new clean O-ring and grease and whatever to help seal where the axle goes into the housing. And so yeah, ABS sensor's got to go in, disc rotor's going to go on. This brake line, we've got to quickly disconnect that and pop it through the hole, the line through the hole, because there's no slot cut in there. Or we could actually cut it through if we wanted to make it easier for next time, so we don't have to open the brake line. Not sure if that would work. No, it'd have to be pretty big actually because of the size of the brake line. So that's probably why they don't do it. You'd lose a lot of strength. You could do it, but look, we're not going. It's not hard to just open the brake line and whatever if you know how to bleed brakes and whatever. But if you don't, then you should be taking it to an expert that does. So bang, that'll pop back in. The rotor will be on, so the caliper will go back on. But we'll do that shortly. Just give us a break. Thanks, guys. Hope you found that most enjoyable, because I didn't.